You're listening to The World at 8 with Lynn Mozart. The World at 8, the number one in nationalist news.
Highlights of the news today, the 1st of February. 4 Muslim men who live in Britain as our guests have admitted to plotting a massive bomb attack on the London Stock Exchange building. Pakistan is backing the Taliban, says a news report out today. Britain is to send its latest £1 billion naval destroyer to the Falklands because of the threat from Argentina. France has clinched a deal over making fighter aircraft for the Indian Air Force. Poorer regions in the United Kingdom will have to battle with the French over hosting the training Olympic athletes for the 2012 Games. A group of 25 Chinese workers who were working in Egypt were released after being kidnapped. And thought for the day. UK news. 4 Muslim men who live in Britain as our guests have admitted to plotting a massive bomb attack on the London Stock Exchange building. Post bombs in the mail to other locations, including the United States Embassy in London. The men live in London and Cardiff and were part of a terrorist cell in Britain. They all admitted trying to kill people in the same way as the Mumbai bombing. Anti-terrorist police foiled the attack before the Muslims could plan the time and dates of the atrocity. 5 other Muslim men were arrested and the 9 men of this terrorist cell will face prison sentences within the next week. Pakistan is backing the Taliban, say a new report out today. The Taliban, who are still prominent in Afghanistan, are said to be undefeated and their organisation is still growing daily. More Pakistanis are joining the Taliban to fight against the new Afghan government, which is protected by forces of other countries, including Britain. A party spokesperson has commented, "What has happened to the millions of pounds Britain has thrown at the Pakistani government, supposedly to reduce the threat of terrorism? Firmly in someone's pockets, I would say." Britain is to send its latest £1 billion naval destroyer to the Falklands because of the threat from Argentina. The destroyer is a new class of warship, so sophisticated that it is capable of destroying missiles while at the same time shooting down every aircraft that Argentina sends and more. It is said that the new destroyer will replace the one already at the Falklands. Apparently this procedure is standard, as is the posting of Prince William onto the island. Of late, Chile has been siding with Argentina over the Falklands issue, now that oil has been found in the Falklands region. Euronews. Foreign aid bribes do not work. The Daily Mail reports that France wins a £13 billion Indian jet contract, in spite of International Development Secretary Andrew Mitchell's admission in December that Britain's controversial foreign aid programme was partly designed to win that bid. The deal that was struck this week has been a blow for Britain in the race with France for the contract with India. It is primarily a smack in the face for UK jobs and morale, says one source. India snubbed the BAE's Typhoon in selecting France's Dassault Rafale jet fighter as the preferred option. As negotiations between India and France continue, a UK trade and investment spokesman told the Daily Mail this does not rule out Typhoon for India. Well, don't hold your breath. Our foreign aid package to India looks to be another failed government policy bribe and a waste of taxpayers' money. Poorer regions in the United Kingdom will have to battle with the French over hosting the training Olympics athletes for the 2012 Games in London for a slice of the cake. The Olympics, which is costing Britain £9.3 billion, has seen problem after problem. Most of the money was used in London and not in other parts of the country, one spokesperson has argued. It is also thought that mainly immigrant labour was used to build the Olympic Village, which has not benefited the local area at all. Spain is having a rather bad time with their property market at present. Banco Popular has seen profits plummet to around 20%. The Spanish bank had a €1.7 billion provisions against the bad property loans. World news. A group of 25 Chinese workers who were working in Egypt were released after being kidnapped. The workers were situated in the Sinai Peninsula and that is where they had been released. Officials in the Chinese embassy say that none of the 25 Chinese workers has been hurt or mistreated by the kidnappers. Mitt Romney has won in the primary election in what is described as a total landslide victory over his rivals. Mitt Romney is now the most powerful presidential candidate to take on Barack Obama in the forthcoming US elections. Israel will be deporting asylum seekers from its country back to the Ivory Coast and South Sudan. The Israelis, who were welcomed into the Western world after themselves being deported, are deporting the 1,000 refugees as early as March this year, reports from the Israel Immigration Office have stated. Actually, there is an addendum to this part of the news. The Jewish people after World War II were not welcomed anywhere. We, Europe and the US, took a long time to accept Jewish immigrants, and then only the ones with relatives who had already left Europe pre-war. We, the British, fought them on the beaches of soon-to-be Israel to stop them landing. Remember the film Exodus? While not pro-Zionist, I do think the Jews should have their own country, without all the enmity on all sides from the Arab world. I still remember in the 50s when rented accommodation stated, no children, no pets, no Irish and no Jews. To add to this, people from the South Sudan and Gold Coast might well be of the Muslim faith, and Israelis are not so soft as the rest of the world on either Muslims or asylum seekers. We might well need to learn a few lessons from them. Thought for the day. The Olympics. What a farcical waste of time, effort and money. I was praying frantically that we in the UK would not get this expensive and wasteful task to put up the rest of the world for 2 weeks of stumbling around a racetrack. Now they have incorporated the disabled games, and without fear of upsetting someone, does anyone who has not got a disabled relative actually watch wheelchair games? I mean on an Olympic platform. Whilst I have the greatest admiration for our disabled men and women, especially out of the armed forces, I would not pay to watch them, or indeed any of the Olympics, any time, any place, anywhere. Not exactly your martini girl, am I? Seriously, all the countries who have beggared themselves to provide stupefying opening ceremonies and vast developments have not benefited in tourism after the 2 weeks, and indeed all of these villages have become ghost towns within a few months. Indeed, as quoted in the Daily Mail, the MD of Australia's Tourism and Transport Forum has said that the Olympic Plaza in Sydney has less tourists now than before the Games 5 years before, and to quote him, "Where the bloody hell are you?" The minor celebrity behind this effort is Lord Seb Coe, one of his points being in a nutshell that these games will tackle childhood obesity. Oh yeah? Is that why two of the biggest sponsors of these games, whose logos will be in front of kids' eyes throughout, are McDonald's and Coca-Cola? Overbooking of hotel rooms in vast numbers which have to be paid for, to name just one boo-boo. Those who will benefit, well, workers for London Docklands Light Railway, who have been bribed with a £2,500 bonus not to disrupt the games, good work if you can get it, and all the immigrant builders and workers who have been and will be employed. But the Golden Globe of greed goes to the politicians and sports bureaucrats who have made us, the taxpayers of the UK, spend £10 billion on facilities for 2 weeks of jumping up and down. These people will have the best seats free. They will be driven there and back, while the rest of our enthusiastic Brits will be stuck in traffic jams. But there we go again, us nationalists, clearly begrudging them this experience and generally not joining in the Olympic spirit. Now, speaking personally, when they have the games in Greece, with lots of George Clooney lookalikes start naked and no steroid pump women, I will be there, my friends, I will be there. And finally, a polar bear named Walker, who lives in a wildlife park in Scotland, has found a new toy. The bear, which is said to weigh more than 60 stone, aged just 3 years old, has found a lost hard hat, which one of the workers at the wildlife park had lost. The bear likes to throw it in the large pond and go in after it. Efforts to retrieve the hat are not going ahead because he enjoys it so much. Bless him, he probably imagines some poor bloke in the water every time he throws it in. You have been listening to The World at 8. I am Lynn Mozart, and I wish you all a very good night from Radio Britain.